My little sister Emily and I grew up in an orphanage, far from any trace of our biological parents. We were brought there when we were very young, so young that the faces of our parents had completely faded from our memories. From my earliest awareness of the world, I felt that it was just the two of us in a vast, overwhelming place, and that the only safety we had was each other. In the orphanage, we shared everything: our room, our meals, our games, even our dreams and our fears. I was slightly older than Emily, and I always felt a responsibility to protect her. She would hold my hand whenever she felt scared, and I would reassure her that we would always be together, no matter what. We slept side by side, laughed together, and cried together, trying to create a little family of our own within that cold, impersonal place. Every day in the orphanage felt much like the day before, filled with routines and small stories we told each other to escape the loneliness. I watched over Emily, shielding her from the older children who could be harsh, and from the invisible sadness that seemed to seep into our hearts without reason. Despite the hardships, Emily's small smiles lit up my days, and her trust in me made me stronger. Then came the day that changed everything. I was 8 years old when a family came to the orphanage wanting to adopt a child. They were very clear. They wanted only one child, not two. We didn't fully understand the meaning of those words, but we immediately felt a strange fear creeping into our bones. For years, no one had agreed to adopt us together, and this time the decision was made swiftly. I was chosen. I remember that moment as if it had happened yesterday. Emily cried uncontrollably, clutching my clothes and refusing to let go, and I cried with her. I did not want to leave, but I had no choice. Before I was taken away, I made her a bracelet from colorful threads, the same colors and the twisted knot we had always made together since childhood. I tied it around her wrist and promised her, "I will come back for you one day." I left the orphanage, and Emily stayed behind, leaving a void in my heart that nothing could fill. I grew up in a new home, with a new family and a new school. I learned to live, to appear normal, to adapt to everything. But a part of me always felt incomplete. Emily remained in my thoughts, in every dream, in every quiet moment. I searched for her endlessly, returning to the orphanage again and again, asking questions, trying every lead. Finally, I was told she had been adopted too, that her name had completely changed, and that there was no other information. Every path seemed to end there, and a part of me felt lost forever. 32 years passed. I built a life for myself, I worked, I married, I raised a family, and I took on responsibilities. But Emily never left my heart. She was present in every stage of my life, in every quiet moment, in every unspoken prayer. I dreamed of her, remembering our childhood in the orphanage, our shared laughter and tears, and the bracelet I had made for her so long ago. Then, last week, I was traveling for work in another city. After a long, exhausting day, I went into a supermarket to pick up a few things. I had no idea that fate had a surprise for me that I could never have imagined. As I walked down an aisle, I noticed a small girl, about 9 or 10 years old, standing on tiptoe, trying to reach a box of cookies on a high shelf. Her movements were cautious and deliberate, and her eyes were full of focus and determination. And then I saw the bracelet. I froze. The same colors, the same twisted knot. Without thinking, I approached her and asked gently, "Did you make this bracelet yourself?" She smiled and shook her head. "No, my mom gave it to me. She said it was old and very precious and I should never lose it." My hands started trembling, and I asked softly, "Is your mother here?" She pointed down the aisle. And then she appeared. I stared at her as if time had stopped. There was no one else around us. It was Emily. She had grown, changed, but her eyes, the same eyes I remembered, were still there. I could not hold back my tears. She froze for a moment, then smiled faintly and asked in a trembling voice, "Is it really you?" I ran to her. We hugged, unable to believe this moment was real. I held her hand, feeling all the years of separation return in an instant. She looked at me with eyes full of tears and whispered, "I knew you would come back." Her mother stood nearby, watching quietly, eyes full of tears and joy. Emily and I sat down and talked for hours. I told her about my life after the orphanage, about the years I spent searching for her, about the emptiness that nothing could fill. She told me about her life, the family that raised her, the challenges she faced, and the lessons she learned. Her eyes widened with every word I spoke, and her smile grew with each sentence. She showed me that she had kept the bracelet all these years, that it had reminded her every single day. I held her hand tightly and told her that I had never stopped thinking about her. We left the supermarket together, our hearts overflowing with quiet joy. We got into the car and began to share every story, past and present, about the years we spent apart and the years ahead. When we arrived home, we sat together on the couch, hugging tightly, laughing and crying at the same time. We brought out old photos, remembering our childhood in the orphanage, the small dreams we shared, the hours of laughter and tears, and our long years of waiting. Her mother said gently, "Now is the time for the present moment, not the past." That day, I felt a peace I had never known. After 32 years of loss, we were finally together. I realized that true love may be separated by time, but it never disappears. Some bonds, no matter how long the years stretch, never break. Every lost moment led to this perfect instant where we, the three of us, could finally begin a new life, full of warmth, love, and safety, side by side.